Hi, Dr. Paul Haider here. I had a lady call me the other day, and she was in dire shape, and she had lots of negative thinking going on, and sad and depressed, and just not doing well at all. And from that, she actually ended up, you know, becoming so desperate that she wanted to find somebody to help her in some way, shape, or form. And so I recommended she go do some counseling, first of all. And second of all, to do some meditation and then learn meditation and do meditation. And third of all, in order to change our thinking, we have to actually start looking at our thoughts. You know, I can't crawl into anybody's head. That's impossible. And we have to go in and look at our thoughts and say, this is a good thought. I should, keep that one. Or this is a not so great thought. I should take that one out. And this is a process which is ongoing. And we have to do that ourselves. Nobody can do that for us. And then the more we get used to looking at that, and the more we allow ourselves to be in the moment. Also, she was always future thinking. What if this happens? What if that happens? You know what I mean? And grandizing all of this stuff and making it something horrific, really. And that's not good. Making something terrible out of actually something so simple. You know what I mean? And so it's about staying here right now. I have the ability to breathe right now. You ever been an asthmatic and not being able to breathe? It becomes really important. I have the ability to, you know, move around without pain. That's a great thing. If you're an arthritic person, and you have pain every second, that's a big deal. You know, I can walk and get around. If you're a paraplegic or something, that's a big deal. But we don't look at what we have in a way of good things in our lives, and we seem to center a lot of times on the bad thing. And so we future think about bad things, future think about bad things, and eventually that really creates a sadness in our whole life, and which is not good. And we have to allow ourselves to find the good things in our life and to create loving relationships. In order to create loving relationships, there has to be some reciprocal energy given back and forth. Yeah, you can love somebody, but if they don't reciprocate in some way, that's not a relationship at all. And so that's really important that there's a reciprocal relationship going on, especially with friends. You can help friends, you can talk with friends, and they only come over. If they only come over because they want something, that's not a relationship. That is I'm taking something from you process. So, they're being a parasite and trying to pull something from us. Where a relationship is, we love one another and we care for one another. And I call you on a regular basis to see how you are. I text you and see what's going on, and I want to be a part of your life. That's important, and that building those kinds of relationships in our lives creates a positive atmosphere also for our brain and what we're thinking. And we have a lot of those type of people, positive relationships in our lives, when we start thinking in a positive direction also. So that's important. A lot of times when people get into negative thinking, they cocoon themselves, which is not good. And a lot of times they start going on the internet and looking at everything negative on the internet, which a lot of it is very negative. And so that's really not good at all either. So I think it's really important that we allow ourselves to have these positive relationships, allow ourselves to control our thinking, and also to do the meditation. I find right now that people have so much in the way of stress that it's overwhelming. Even people who are doing 20 minutes of TM every day, it's just not enough. In fact, I know people who've done TM 20 minutes for years, and they've come to me lately and said, I just don't see it working anymore. And I said, well, go to 45 minutes. And go to 45 minutes, and then it starts working again. And it's really something that we have to put in every single day. And I had a man who had a mental health challenge, and he went to Vipassana, a meditation retreat, and it disappeared. And he worked on that, doing the meditation 2 hours a day, and it stayed away. And then all of a sudden, oh, I don't need to do this. And all of a sudden, it came back. And he was, going crazy with all this anxiety because this mental health challenge came back. And he said, you need to go back to the 2 hours a day of meditation, doing your Vipassana meditation every day. And it was just a little bit like pulling teeth. It was like he knew he needed to do it, but he kind of got off track. But eventually, after about a month, he finally went back to doing his 2 hours of meditation every morning, 1 hour, and every evening, 1 hour, and his mental health challenge disappeared again. What do you know? But there's a big part of us here that says, you don't have to do that. I should be able to get out and just run around, do whatever I want, and I'll be fine. But the world is crazy right now. There's absolutely no doubt about it. I mean, people are going crazy. I see it all the time. So I think it's really important that we allow ourselves not to be, going crazy with the rest of the world, and find that great peace and have that base inside of us. And so sometimes that means we have to be different than the rest of the world. And I know when I met my wife doesn't, she does a little bit of meditation, but she really doesn't do anything like I do. I do an hour in the morning, an hour in the evening, and I do my exercising on a regular basis and walk my 7 miles every day. And she used to call me, you're like Army, you know what I mean? But, it takes that tenacity to do the things every single day to see a result. And then you start to feel good about yourself and your life, and you're happier, and there's not these emotional ups and downs, and you know that certain things are important, and you stick to them on a regular basis. And so that's really what life is really all about, And it's also about getting out in nature on a regular basis. My garden is my refuge. I was just out watering everything, and I have some galangal root growing and some ginger, and I have a lot of goji berries that I just picked yesterday and made some goji juice, all kinds of good things. And, I have onions and perilla leaves growing and all kinds of things. And that allows me to just sit in peace and find that centering within my heart. And in the evenings, I go out there with a lawn chair, and the two dogs come out with me, and one little dog, she just climbs up on my lap. She's so happy to be outside with Daddy, and that makes me happy also. So those small little things. A lot of times we're so centered on being inside, watching the TV, or going on the internet and doing all these things that really have nothing to do with anything. And they really are not making us happy whatsoever. But we are really become attached to them. It becomes a mental illness to be connected to TV or connected to the smartphone all the time. And because we are looking for what's coming next, to give us our next hit. It becomes just like a morphine injection, and we're looking to feel good. So we're looking at this device to feel good again. And then it doesn't make us feel good because we see something terrible, and then we're looking for something to make us feel good, so we look at it again, and we see something makes us feel good, and we feel, we light up those certain areas of our brain. It's no different from chocolate or morphine or any other addiction. And it's the same thing. We're connected to this device. And so we have to allow ourselves to disconnect from all that stuff. And it's really important. And I think the more and more that life gets more electronified, there's more electronic devices, there's more things that, make our life easy. I think that we are missing out on what life really means. And now I know people who are friends who actually gave up living in society, built themselves a small cabin, and they went out and lived in a simple way, and they love it. So what's wrong with that? They make a living by cutting wood and selling the wood, and they go out and have fun on a regular basis because they're out in nature all the time. It's not easy. There's no doubt about it. They have a lot of hard work to do, but hard work never hurt anybody, really. They actually are in great shape, too. If you swing an axe most of the day splitting logs, or you even using a log splitter and even a machine-driven one, it takes a lot of work to put those logs up there. And so they are in good shape. There's no doubt about it. Plus, they grow their own food. They have their own, big garden, which sustains them all year long. And they have, everything they need right there. And so they have their own well. Everything is totally disconnected from society. They're close to society. They're only about, a half hour away from being at a little tiny town, but they have everything they need. And this whole family is very loving and kind. And I think that's really what it's all about. They don't have they don't have the smartphones. They don't have the computers. They don't need them, you know what I mean? And they actually feel better without them. And I find it really interesting because they have streams nearby. They have a lot of wildlife and deer and different things, and even bears and different things. And they actually sit on the front porch and watch the wildlife and take in the sunsets and take in the sunrise and enjoy life. And they read a lot. They read real books. What do you know? The ones with paper, And they do go, into town. They do buy books and things like that. And I find it very interesting. And they even have their grandkids come, and the grandkids come out and they learn to enjoy living on the simple life of being a farmer. And they love it, absolutely love it. They have about 7 or 8 dogs and a whole bunch of cats, and even have one dog that just kind of watches over the kids and makes sure they don't get in trouble. Even if there's a rattlesnake there, the dog will block the path and not allow them to go any further because he's protecting the kids. What more could you ask for? This is a great way of life. And I think a lot of people are disconnected from nature. And this is bringing a lot of sadness. There's even a great book called The Last Child in the Woods, I think it's called. And where it's about being nature deprived. And we are. There's no doubt about it. Nature deprived. And if we don't get out in nature, we feel terrible. Just looking up at the sky every day, we feel good. I just walk outside, look at the clouds. Sometimes out there with the dogs in the garden, I just look at the clouds and watch them go by. And, as a little kid, I used to sit there and try to make up what animals do I see in those clouds, And, just notice how they're moving. And, the clouds are moving slow. Very slow. This has been going on for hundreds not even hundreds of thousands of years, millions of years, that sky has been the same way. And we take it for granted and don't even look at it. And I think it's really important that we get out and embrace nature and start checking in on our brain. Is that a good thought? Is that a not so great thought? And keep the good ones, but let go of the bad ones. Let go of the smartphone, let go of the computer. In this day and age, I know you have to have them, but limit them, to 1 hour a day as much as possible. And also having those great friends that you connect with on a regular basis, and they help you to feel good on the inside because you both love each other. That's really important. So have a wonderful, wonderful day. And if you want to get a hold of me, remember to all my information about contact information is down below. And I'll be glad to talk to you. All my consults are free, either herbal or spiritual. And I'm always here for you. And if you care to make a donation, that is greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. And so feel free to connect with me, and I'm always here for you. And remember, most of all, remember, I love you.